Start by placing the game board on the middle of the table with the board game grid on top. Shuffle all the action cubes with the young cubes and randomly place them on the board. Make sure no junk cubes are in the corners. Just move them if they pop up there. Okay, here we go. Choose 4 villains to use in the game that you think will fit your game group. Check out the rules for the mechanics for each villain and theme. Once you've decided, shuffle their deck and randomly place them on any of the villain locations on the board and draw the first card and place it on the villain scheme. If any of the villains use additional components, place them beside the villain. So we have auction tokens for Lady Darmandy and we have dice for Kid Random. Create the common supply by placing energy markers next to the red corner, the dojo. The money tokens next to the diner. Shuffle the item cards and place them next to the supermarket and reveal 4 of them. Randomly decide a first player and decide goons in turn order. Place your goon on a crib board and add a crib grid to the action section. Place a matching goon token on the first space of the score track. The others you can keep on the crib board. If you're playing a 2-player game, give each player 9 energy markers and 2 money tokens each. If you're playing with more than 2 players, give each player 7 energy markers and only 1 money. And now you're good to go. So in Goons you are a freelancing henchman and you're trying to be as successful as possible. So throughout the game you will decide to support a big variety of villain schemes. Each villain has a different game mechanic and the scheme changes every round. You will also visit the different locations of the board, climb the hustle tracks of the different locations. You will earn money to get new items that gives you new abilities, but most importantly, you will try to earn as much victory points as possible. So let's have a look how the game plays. The game is divided into 3 rounds, and in every round each player has 5 turns. If you're playing a 2-player game, if you play with more players, you only have 4 turns. And every round ends with a resolution of the villain schemes from the top left corner going round. Okay, so how does a player's turn work? Well, you start by taking one of these colored cubes from the center board, and as you can see, everything in this game is color coordinated. The color of the cube correlates to the corner of that color. So we have a red cube for the red corner, we have the yellow cube for the yellow corner, we have the green for the green and the blue for the blue. The dark cubes you see, they are called junk cubes and they're basically obstacles in the way. They are not action cubes, you are not allowed to take one of them. When you're taking a cube from the grid board here, you're only allowed to take action cubes from the outer corners or cubes next to empty spaces. So if this was taken, I would be able to take these 2 blue cubes as well. Okay, so let's have a closer look at the goons. As you may notice, they have different colored cubes here. So that's their special ability. Once per game, they can decide to use it, and it allows them to take a matching colored cube from anywhere on the board and perform an additional action. Okay, so let's say it's Marcel's turn. It's his first turn of the first round, and he will take the red cube here. Then he will combine it with any of the empty spaces on the first row, as the row here correlates to the current turn. So here's the first turn, the second, the third, and the fourth, and then finally the fifth. So he gets to place this on any of the available spaces here, and he decides to place it on the yellow space. So this means he will be able to perform a red action for the red cube and a yellow action for the yellow space. And he may perform them in any order. Okay, so let's check out his option. For the red cube, he can perform an action in the red corner, and each corner has 3 different options. You may take the location action of the dojo. In this case, he will get an extra energy. He will go work out there. He can also go advancing on the hustle track here, which means he would be able to place one of his goon tokens on the track. Once he hits the rewards here, he immediately receives them. Or he could commit to the red villain here, Lady Darmondy. And that is what he decides to do. So when you're committing energy to a villain's schemes, you are able to commit up to 2 energy for every action. So for this one red action, he's able to commit 2 energy. And when you're committing energy to a scheme, you always place it in the leftmost available space. Okay, so he now have 1 yellow action left, and in the yellow corner he can go and work extra at the diner. It will give him 1 money. He could climb the hustle track, advancing 1 space there, or he could commit energy to Mary Clyde here. He's kind of interested in the dynamite here, which costs 3 money. So I think he's gonna work a little extra at the diner and get 1 additional money for the yellow action. Okay, so this concludes Marcel's first turn, and now it's Dennis' turn here. And Dennis is gonna take this yellow cube from this corner, and he's gonna combine it with a green action. For the green action, he's not gonna commit to Kid Random or climb the hustle track. He's going to get the brass knuckles from the supermarket. So it costs him 2 money that he returns to the supply. And for his yellow action, he's going to commit energy to the boat trip. So the brass knuckles now gives him the ability to push an additional 2 energy to any of the corners. It's a once per round ability, so he's saving it a little bit for later. Every time an item gets bought, the market is restocked. Okay, so for Marcel's second turn here, he's going to take a yellow cube here from the red corner, and he's gonna place it on the blue action space. For his yellow action, he's going to commit 2 of his energy to the boat trip. So if you remember, if you commit energy, you always place it in the leftmost available space, unless if you have more energy than the player to the left. In that case, you swap positions. In this case, however, they have an equal amount of energy, so the position stays the same. So why would you want to have the first position here? Well, the positions here are called commit order, and they matter very much in how the schemes are resolved. For instance, in the boat trip here, the player highest in the commit order will start by deciding the rewards. And in the green corner over here, they will get different rewards depending on their position. And in Jolly Butcher scheme here, the cleanup, only the player in the first place will get the victory point reward. So how much energy you commit and which position you are in are very important in this game. Okay, so with Marcel's blue action, he will go to the nightclub in the blue corner. This means he will be able to move a cube on the board to an empty space, and he may even move a junk cube. So he can move this one, for instance, to here, increase the value of that, and move the junk cube away. Or he can move 2 of his energy to another scheme. So if he has a change of heart, if another player commits a lot of energy, it might be better for him to move his energy to another scheme, or not even take it back to its supply. In this case, he decides to move his energy from the red scheme to the yellow. So now he has 3 energy, so that means he will take the top position. It's now Dennis' turn, and he will take the yellow cube here, and he will place it on the blue space. For his yellow action, he's not going to commit to the boat trip or advance on the hustle track. He's gonna work extra at the diner and get money. And for his blue action, he's actually gonna go to the nightclub as well, and he's gonna move one of his energy to another villain. And unlike the other villains here, the Jolly Butcher has an immediate effect. He may trade one of his money up to 2 times to 3 advancement on hustle tracks. So he's gonna take his money, hard earned, and he's gonna advance on the blue hustle track here. He's gonna advance 2 spaces there. He will get a free advancement here as a reward. So he decides to advance on the green hustle track here. And with his final advancement, he's going to advance yet another step. So he will get 1 money back actually. Not only will you get the rewards of the hustle tracks depicted here on the side, at the top there's a 5 victory point reward, but if you're higher than your opponent on a hustle track, you will get a little hustle track bonus, which is victory points equal to the player count. So in this case, 2 victory points. And finally, Dennis decides to use his brass knuckles by rotating it. Now he's able to push in 2 more energy to a scheme. In this case, he decides to go for Lady Darmandy, so he's taking over the top space here as he committed 2 energy. So as you probably been noticing, there's different color stars underneath here. So that's basically the value of that location. So the symbol here, the star with the cross in it, that's the value of the uncovered stars of that color, including the uncovered stars on your crib board. So you're able to regulate the values depending on where you decide to draw your cube from and where you decide to place it. That's a very important concept of the game that you always have to have in mind. Okay, so I'm going to continue playing here, so if you think you got a good understanding on how the game flows, you can skip ahead to the villain resolution phase or just continue watching. It's Marcel's turn, and he's not very fond of how the game looks right now. I mean, he has the top position here, he gets to make 2 choices when it's the villain resolution, but he's not happy about collecting debts and he would like to get that dynamite finally. However, he is a bit restricted in how the cube grid looks right now. So I don't think we're gonna go for the dynamite actually. I think we're gonna take the blue cube from the blue corner and we're gonna place it on the blue space here. So with our first blue action, we're going to commit 2 energy to the nightclub villain, Jolly Butcher. So as we place 2 energy, we're now in the top commit position here. And then we're going to do the cleanup immediate trade here. So we're gonna pay 2 of our hard-earned, well, not so hard-earned actually, money to get 6 advancement on the hustle tracks here. So we're gonna advance 2 steps here in the red location, giving us a free nightclub action. So we're gonna move a Yank cube to the red neighborhood. So we're increasing the value of the yellow location and we're lowering the value of the dojo. We're then going hustling in the yellow neighborhood, gaining an extra energy. And I think we're gonna go hustling in the green location as well. So getting money back. So maybe someday we will be able to afford a dynamite. Now it's Dennis' turn and he will take a red cube here, increasing the value a little bit of the red neighborhood, and he will take a green action as well. So he'll place it on the green space. So for the red action, he's just gonna commit 1 energy here. So basically make sure he will keep the lead there. And for the green action, he's going to commit to Kit Random's scheme. So he's gonna commit 2 energy there. The number of energy committed to Kit Random schemes affects how many dice that gets rolled when his scheme is resolved. But we'll talk about that later in the villain resolution phase. Okay, so it's now Marcel's turn, and he's actually going to go for the green action cube here. So he's finally gonna get that dynamite, and he's gonna place it on the yellow space. So for the yellow action, he's going to the diner. He's gonna earn another buck. And for the green action, he's visiting the supermarket, and he's going to get the dynamite. So he's gonna refill the market. Okay, I didn't do the best job in shuffling the cards, but yeah. Anyways, there's jumpsuits and a bubble gun available now. So the dynamite, it's pretty badass. It can be used once per game, but it can double the energy of a scheme. So it's a very powerful move to use. And 5 points is quite a lot in this game, actually. Okay, so it's now Dennis' turn, and he's going to increase the odds of Kid Random's scheme here. So he's going to take a blue cube here, and he's gonna place it on the yellow space. So for the blue action, he's moving his energy from the cleanup, placing it there. And for the yellow action, he's going to take another money. He's going to work extra at the diner again and try to get an item before the resolution comes. Okay, so it's back to Marcel, and he has his dynamite, which he didn't pay for actually, so we're gonna do it now. But I don't think we're gonna use it just yet. We are, however, a little bit interested in piggybacking on this scheme. It looks like it might be successful with 3 dice being rolled. So I think we're gonna get the green action here. So we're increasing the value a little bit here for the yellow scheme. And we're gonna place it on the red action space. So with the green action, we're just gonna commit 1 little energy here. And for the red action, we're going to commit 1 energy to Lady Darmandy. We still haven't used the dynamite, so we still have a card up our sleeve if things would change. Okay, so it's now Dennis, and it's his final turn here. So let's have a look here. He's pretty happy on how things look here, and there's probably not much he can do here. I mean, if the pink player decides to use his dynamite, he can kind of shift things a little bit. And he's happy about Kid Random. He will not get the star reward here, but he will get a lot of good stuff that will be great for the next upcoming turn. And the cleanup, it's the same kind of situation as Mary Clyde over there. So he's going to take the green action cube here and place it on the yellow space. So for the green action, he's going to get a bubble gun. Here we are. And for the yellow action, he's gonna work extra at the diner yet again. And the bubble gun, it gives him 1 energy. It's a once per round usage, so we're gonna use it right away and get an additional energy. Okay, so that's the end of the very first round. So now it's the villain resolution, and if you remember, we start in the left corner here, and we're going round, and we're going to resolve all of the villain's schemes. So we're gonna start with Lady Darmandy here, and the player will get twice as many auction tokens as they have energy on this scheme. So the teal player, Dennis, he will get 6, and Marcel will get 4. So the players will now perform a blind auctioning with these tokens for each of the rewards, starting with the leftmost. So that's 3 advancement on the hustle tracks. So the players will decide how many they will bid, and they will reveal them at the same time. So if it's an equal amount, they will share the reward, rounded down, and they will then continue to bid on each of the rewards. When resolving Mary Clyde's scheme here, the player highest in the commit order will start to choose one of the rewards. So if they choose the star with the cross in it, they will receive the victory points for that location, which in this case would be 3 stars here and 3 stars here. That's 6 victory points to the pink player. The player next in the commit order will then decide reward, and they will keep on going until all rewards are claimed. When you resolve the scheme of Kid Random, you look at the conversion rate here. When resolving the scheme, they will roll dice equal to the amount of energy committed to this scheme. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So we can roll them and see what we get. So that's a total of 14, which means the scheme is successful. The condition was 12 or higher. So that means the player highest in the commit order will get the first reward here, which is 7 NG and 4 advancement on the hustle track. And the second position will actually get the victory points. In this case, however, there's no victory points on the board, but they will get from their crib board here. So that's 3 victory points for the teal-colored player, Dennis. And finally, Jolly Butcher, his scheme, it's simply the player on the top spot here in the commit order who will get the victory point reward. So in this case, the pink player, Marcel, he will get 6 victory points. So that's end of the first round of the game. The players will claim their rewards for the different schemes. The market will be refreshed and you will discard all the committed energy unless they didn't receive a reward at all. In that case, the energy actually goes back to the player. So you do this immediately after you resolve each scheme. And finally, you will draw new schemes for all the villains for the upcoming round with new rewards and new conditions. And the player highest on the score track will be the first player for the next round. Okay, so let's have a look at the end game scoring. So the players will get points for each of their item cards. In this case, the player will get 20 points. 5 for the dynamite, 5 for the baseball bat, 3 for the clown mask, and 7 for the backpack. The player will also get victory points for the money left, so they will get 1 victory point for every 2 money. So in this case, that's 2 victory points. The player will also get victory points for the leftover energy, so they will get 1 victory point for every 3 energy left. So in this case, it's just 1 victory point. Finally, the players will get points for the hustle tracks, 5 points if they are in the top position, but they will also get a hustle track bonus if they are positioned higher than the other players. So in this case, that player would get 2 extra points. The player with the most victory points will then win the game.